You're listening to The Wells Report, which will return in 1 minute. The Wells Report returns in 30 seconds. North to south, coast to coast, around the world, this is the Wells Report. On this broadcast, we report the news honestly and fairly. We analyze the news for fact and bias. We point out both. We depropagandize the mainstream media. We do make commentary, but commentary is not news. Commentary is opinion, both yours and mine. Let's compare. Let's debate. News analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. Political news this morning, Kamala Harris got a big endorsement. It took 6 days, but the Obamas finally said, yeah, we endorse you. And there was a phone call and there was a video, and we have both. And we want to play this for you here on the Wells Report. Check it out.
Kamala.
Hello. Hi.
Hey there.
Oh, hi. You're both together. Oh, it's good to hear you both.
I can't have this phone call without saying to my girl Kamala, I am proud of you. This is going to be historic.
We called to say Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
Oh, my goodness. Michelle, Barack, this means so much to me. I'm looking forward to doing this with the two of you, Doug and I both, and getting out there, being on the road. But most of all, I just want to tell you the words you have spoken and the friendship that you have given over all these years mean more than I can express. So thank you both. It means so much. And we're going to have some fun with this too, aren't we?
All right, that's Kamala Harris getting an endorsement that a lot of people were wondering about, the long-awaited endorsement from the former president for Vice President Kamala Harris to be the Democrat Party nominee. Finally arrived today. Harris had racked up a series of endorsements since President Joe Biden withdrew from his re-election bid after his debacle of a debate performance. But Obama was the last prominent Democrat who had not weighed in. And you can see the video there. And if elected, Harris, who is Black and Asian Indian, would be the first woman to win the White House. We called to say Michelle and I could not be prouder to endorse you and do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office, President Obama said. After Biden dropped out, Harris quickly secured enough Democrat National Committee votes to become the presumptive Democrat nominee and coalesce the party's establishment around her. Though Biden held off while the party organized its new nomination process, he praised Biden for stepping aside. He said, quote, Joe Biden has stayed true to these words again and again over a lifetime of service to the American people, Obama said on social media site X after the president's address on Wednesday night. By Wednesday, Harris had raised $126 million in campaign contributions, according to her campaign. There is a small little fly in the ointment to all of this joy and fantastic jubilation over Harris becoming the Democrat standard bearer. It has to do with claims about whether or not Kamala Harris was the border czar. The very latest media spin is, no, she was never the border czar. No, that's just a Republican lie. Okay, well, here's how Peter Doocy handled it when he was talking with KJP about that subject from Fox News.
Thank you, Corinne. Democrats on Capitol Hill are being handed this card with talking points. about the vice president and the border? Do you know who's handing this out?
I have no idea. You probably should ask her campaign.
So the first one says Vice President Harris was never appointed border czar. There's never been such a position. It doesn't exist. Why are Democrats so sensitive about the vice president and the border?
Why are Republicans so sensitive about actually not owning up to them getting in the way of a border deal? Why? Why won't they own up to that? Why won't they own up to the last president told them not to move forward? It was a bipartisan deal on just right there, available to them, and they voted twice against it. Twice against it. Why are they so sensitive to moving forward and actually dealing on an issue that majority of Americans care about, is dealing with what's going on at the border?
Do you think that the border would be less of a talking point now if there was less migration to the border? Say if somebody had addressed root causes of migration sooner?
Wait, hold on a second. Did you not hear the beginning of I know there were a lot of toppers, but one of the toppers, I talked about what we're seeing at the border. It's down by 55%, not because of Republicans in Congress and what they did. It's because of what this president and this vice president did. He moved forward and took actions to deal with what's going on at the border. Republicans continue to block getting resources to the Border Patrol agents. They continue to block actually dealing with an immigration system. So yes, we are going to debunk the false characterization of the vice president. She was not a border czar, and it's not just us.
Yeah, it's not just us. So the toppers that she was talking about, KJP was talking about toppers. Those are quick one-sentence summaries about what subjects they want to talk about, et cetera, et cetera. And one has to ask the question, somebody's got to say it. Are they toppers today or are they whoppers? I mean, come on. The border czar situation is pretty straightforward. I have to point out, because we point out fact and bias, I have to point out that KJP never answered the question. The paper-thin spin that's going on regarding the border czar, well, there's not a position like that. Okay. Well, if there's not a position like that, then how come she was given the title border czar and wore it proudly until things began to fall through? I'm just asking. And by the way, when it comes right down to it, yeah, one of the things about life in the information age, the fact that we all have this, we have social media that is absolutely amazing. Free speech has never been stronger. Whether you're on one side of it or another, it makes no difference. But free speech is joyous to watch. And also having information at our fingertips just like this may not be fun to watch.
I've asked her, the VP today, because she's the most qualified person to do it, to lead our efforts with Mexico and the Northern Triangle and the countries that help. We're going to need help in stemming the movement of so many folks stemming the migration to our southern border.
That's very clear. Mexico mentioned the Northern Triangle. Those are Central American countries giving up their citizenry for a migration to the southern border of the United States. That was a clear assignment by President Biden to Kamala Harris, and she did not execute it. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of people very upset about that, specifically U.S. House of Representative members from the Republican Party. They have passed a resolution on party lines, of course. They passed a resolution condemning, let me bring this up for you. I forgot to do this in my prep today. Resolution Harris, Harris, Harris. I put one too many R's in it. I made an R's of myself. Let's see. So here's from the Hill. Let me bring this to you. The resolution was approved yesterday that condemns Vice President Harris as the Biden administration's border czar, in quotes. The latest move by GOP lawmakers to criticize Harris as she mounts a bid for the White House. The resolution, spearheaded by Elise Stefanik of New York. She is, of course, a Republican firebrand. She's the GOP conference chair. Cleared the chamber with a 220 to 196 vote. What's interesting on that is I was wrong. It's not a party line vote. 6 Democrats voted yes to condemn Kamala Harris's handling of the border. House GOP leaders added the resolution to the vote scheduled on Monday, one day after President Biden announced that he was dropping out of the race and endorsing VP Harris for the to be the new nominee, a decision that shook the political landscape, forced Republicans to recalibrate. The resolution offers a sense of how Republicans plan to campaign against Harris. The measure spans 4 pages, takes aims at Harris's handling of the situation at the southern border, referring to her as the Biden administration's, quote, border czar, unquote. Biden in 2021 selected Harris to lead the administration effort to address the root causes of migration, that was a matter on top of mind when Democrats entered the White House that year. He did not, however, give Harris the formal title of border czar. That was not what happened. The media christened her the border czar, like they christened John Kerry the climate czar. I talked about this a lot. We don't have czars in our government. That's a Russian thing. We don't have czars. We don't have dictators. That's, by the way, the original name for someone that has been given a government assignment, but it was changed after the rhetoric in the mainstream media of the day started calling Mussolini, Hitler, etc., dictators. And so they changed it, the commissioner or some kind of other name. And what happened during the Obama administration is somehow we had all these czars. I said it was a mistake then. Now we know why. It is, I don't know, some sort of sidling up to the idea of an all-powerful person glowering from a huge stage. I will fix it. Except it didn't work and doesn't work. The climate czar scenario with John Kerry, it may make him feel good as he's flying around his private jet polluting the atmosphere. But you know what? Nothing happened. Same thing with the border. Kamala Harris went to the border, the Texas-Mexico border once. And then she immediately worked on the idea of going to the Northern Triangle and trying to stop why people are leaving the countries. They're leaving the countries because they're garbage holes and they don't like it there. And America isn't. America is the shining city on the hill. They want to have a better life. That's why they're coming. They're also speckled, indeed joined by terrorists, fentanyl pills, drug dealers, and all of these other people that are coming across the border too, because it's wide open. It's absolutely wide open. So bad, it's so badly open that DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas was impeached for it. And so this is a mess. It is a vulnerability. It will be something that costs Kamala Harris, indeed, it's going to be a problem for her. By the way, there is a former CBP union chief, the Customs and Border Patrol union leader, that says it's very disappointing. This is Brandon Judd speaking on Fox News. Let me get that one more time. On Fox News, it's very disappointing. We gave her the policy she needed to implement. She refused to implement those. Judd's comments came as Harris's record on immigration and border security has faced increased scrutiny in the days after Biden's decision to drop out of the race and endorse his vice president to replace him, with critics saying Harris has failed in one of the defining issues of the 2024 election. Biden tapped Harris to lead the administration effort to combat migration in March of 2021, a response to critics who were already noting the increased flow of migrants just months into his administration, some 8 million making it so far. According to a report from the Associated Press on the day of the announcement, Harris was tasked with overseeing diplomatic efforts in the Northern Triangle countries of El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. Administration officials told AP that the Associated Press that Harris would work to press those countries to better enforce immigration laws and secure their own borders while being tasked with coming up with a long-term strategy to address the root causes of migration from those countries. This reporter has not seen that long-term strategy. The long-term strategy seems to be just leave it alone and let's just continue with business as usual on the southern border. That's going to be a problem. This is just the opening stanza. When that border is indeed assigned to Kamala Harris, not just by Joe Biden, but by the Republicans running against her, And then the linkage comes to fentanyl coming to America and killing over 200,000 of us. It's going to be hard to escape. I wonder if they have an answer prepared. Something tells me they don't. This is the Wells Report. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Thanks very much for being a part of our broadcast. The chat room is alive this morning. Brad asks, do they have any concept of reality? Well, they do, but I don't think they have a concept really nailed down about the fact that they can't make these typical spin moves in the White House press office because there's too much information out there for all of us at our fingertips. It took me just about 2 minutes to find that raw video from the President of the United States handing the border to Kamala Harris, which was a huge mistake in the first place, not necessarily because Kamala Harris was not going to do anything about it. Nobody knew that at the time, but because in a Democrat context, there's no way to do anything about the border except try to pour more money into it, not to secure it, but to process the people that are crossing the unsecured border in the first place. And that kind of cynicism is really annoying to me. Absolutely. It appears to be annoying to other people. Perla says, KJP has been lying every time she opens her mouth. Lies and lies and lies. She'll never be able to tell the truth. Well, she's not telling the truth. She's telling the politics. She's talking about the political spin. That's what's going on. All right. Let's see. Brad also said, after asking, do they have any concept of reality? He said, we need a reality czar. Fine. I will be the reality czar. I will stand on the stage and glower and say, this is the truth. No, I won't actually. I'll just keep telling the truth. You guys decide whether it is or isn't. It's up to you. I'm just doing my very best because that's what I think I should be doing. Hey, there is also somebody else telling some truth here, and it's James Carville. And James Carville was on MSNBC the other day, and he was talking about being a skunk at the garden party. Yeah.
To be the skunk at the garden party. This is too triumphalist, okay? This is everybody's giddy. I look at the coverage and it's great, and if I had to write a play about what I think it's going to be like, it would be entitled The Ice Pick Cometh, okay? Get ready, they're coming, all right? And it's good, everybody should feel good and liberated and everything else. But if we don't win the election, we haven't done anything. We haven't changed the temperature in America, we haven't changed anything. And I think the vice president, I hope that, her campaign is getting ready. I hope they'll listen to my friend and fellow New Orleanian, Don Brazil, who actually, I think, has the same kind of view of politics that I do. And they're coming at us, and they're going to keep coming. And this kind of giddy elation is not going to be very helpful much longer, because that's not what we're going to be faced with.
Yeah, the ice pick cometh. Not a bad idea. Not a bad concept, a conceptual thought from a very thoughtful guy who is decidedly left. But on the other hand, he's also an old-handed politics. And whether you believe in James Carville or not, somebody says, these people remind me of used car salesmen. And certainly James Carville reminds me of a used car salesman, and I know because I've been a used car salesman. Let's move on. The thing about this is that James Carville is pointing out some stuff. The ice pick does come, myth. It's on its way. And there are some things that both the Democrat Party and Kamala Harris cannot hide from. Okay, we can bluster and we can threaten and we can try to intimidate and we can say all these things. As a matter of fact, there's somebody talking about, it's the co-chair of the Biden campaign, the now defunct Biden campaign, talking about how he's upset, in a vulgar term, he's upset with big donors because they haven't immediately flocked to Kamala Harris. Well, those big donors have a reason not to flock. And I have to agree with James Carville. Got to be careful here. There's my book would not be the ice pick cometh. My book would be the faceplant cometh. And that's something that is going to force Kamala Harris to stay on message religiously. She can't rise to bait. She can't descend into, giggly foolishness. Same thing with Donald Trump. I mean, both these people have certain proclivities for saying the wrong thing at the exact right time. The first candidate that doesn't do that probably will win. Back with more in a moment.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. John David Wells, thanking you very much for joining us today. If you find any kind of value in this broadcast, please do subscribe to it. Oh, wait. What did I do that for? Okay, hold on a minute here. There we go. If you find any value in this broadcast, by all means, subscribe to it. Pass it along to your friends. Share it. Ask them to subscribe to it. If you would like to support the show financially, go to Wells Report. Go to patreon.com/The Wells Report. That is patreon.com/The Wells Report. You can throw us a couple of bucks if you want to. I sincerely appreciate it. So Christopher Wray, in a very good round of congressional testimony before the Judiciary Committee, pointed out that he wasn't exactly sure what hit Donald Trump during the assassination attempt. And this has been made into a leftist talking point. Well, he wasn't actually hit with a bullet. He was actually it could have been shrapnel. And the FBI director doesn't even know. Yeah, okay, so there were people that were hit by bullets. Bullets were flying, and in my rendition or assessment of the facts that we know, there was a 2-centimeter tear in the top of Donald Trump's ear. That's not going to be shrapnel. There are reports in the news that indeed the teleprompter, which would have been the only source of shrapnel, would have been, there was no damage reported to those teleprompter windows. They are made of glass. Further, if the bullet had hit the teleprompter, there would be more than one piece. Donald Trump would have had speckled pieces of glass all through his face, et cetera, et cetera. That would have been very serious. That bullet is moving very quickly. There have been misquotes about 330 feet per second, 3,030 feet per second, or something along that line. That bullet, if it's a 5.56 round, and we're not exactly sure, there are a couple of different things that are out there. Could be 300 blackout. We don't know, and I know this is all in the weeds with ballistics, et cetera, et cetera. But let's just assume that it was a 5.56 round. That 5.56 round would have indeed done exactly the kind of damage to President Trump's ear had it been a graze. But I'm not the FBI director. I don't do that kind of thing for a living. I'm an avid shooter, love it, truly enjoy it, not just from a standpoint of preparing for whatever might happen, including somebody coming into my house or anything like that. But I actually enjoy the mental solitude of trying to put a bullet on a target in a very precise fashion. And I know it seems kind of strange. Is there solitude there? Yeah, because it requires concentration. There are a lot of things going on inside this head, except when I shoot and things quiet down, and I'm able to concentrate on what I'm trying to get done. But I'm not an expert. Christopher Wray is, and yes, Christopher Wray did point out in that congressional testimony that he wasn't sure whether it was a bullet or shrapnel. Take a look at this from the hearing.
Where did all 8 bullets go is, I guess, my question.
I don't have that in front of me. I'm happy to circle back and get that to you. It's assuming we have that information yet. As I said, I think with respect to former President Trump, there's some question about whether or not it's a bullet or shrapnel that that hit his ear. So it's conceivable. Although, as I say here right now, I don't know whether that bullet, in addition to causing the grazing, could have also landed somewhere else. But I believe we've accounted for all of the shots in the cartridges. So let us get that.
It's my understanding that the very first one was the one that hit the president. Is that the very first shot, or is that not accurate?
I don't, as I sit here right now, I don't know the answer to that. I believe we know the answer to that. I just don't have it in front of me.
I want to thank The Guardian for that video. That's a London newspaper. And that's what I talk about when we go around the world for news. So that's what we mean. Donald Trump, for his part, was very quick to reply to that. FBI Director Christopher Wray, this from Truth Social. FBI Director Christopher Wray told Congress yesterday he wasn't sure whether President Trump, was hit by shrapnel, glass, or a bullet. The FBI never even checked, but he was sure that crooked Joe Biden was physically and cognitively uneventful. Wrong. That's why he knows nothing about the terrorists and other criminals pouring into our country at record levels. His only focus is destroying J6 patriots, raiding Mar-a-Lago, and saving radical left lunatics like the ones now in D.C. burning American flags and spray painting over our national monuments with zero retribution. No, it was unfortunately a bullet that hit my ear, and it hit hard. That is something that you also need to keep in mind. That bullet is carrying a lot of kinetic energy. He would know. There would be a shockwave off the bullet, a shockwave so strong that it could actually create damage inside a skull, even though it doesn't hit it. I mean, that bullet is moving quickly, right? 2,850, somewhere approaching 3,000 feet per second, but there's a big, big difference between the 3,300 feet per second that has been quoted in some places and just under that, 2,850 feet per second or so is basically what that round is doing. There was no glass. There was no shrapnel. The hospital called it a bullet wound to the ear, and that is what it was. No wonder the storied FBI has lost the confidence of America. This, by the way, from President Trump. And yeah, he's got a point. He would know. He would know. And I find it, I don't know, I guess disappointing to a degree that indeed people would be having this debate. This from CNN. The FBI said Thursday investigators continue to examine bullet fragments and other evidence in the attack on Donald Trump at a Pennsylvania rally this month. The agency has always considered the shooting an attempted assassination of the former president. Since the day of the attack, the FBI has been consistent and clear that the shooting was an attempted assassination of former President Trump, which resulted in his injury, as well as the death of a heroic father and the injuries of several other victims, the FBI said in a statement. The agency is devoting enormous resources to its ongoing investigation of the heinous attack, and its shooting reconstruction team continues to examine evidence from the scene. The FBI is also seeking to interview Trump to obtain a victim statement, a standard part of the investigation, since he was indeed the victim of a crime. The Bureau issued a statement in response to questions about FBI Director Christopher Wray's testimony on Capitol Hill about the shooting, in which he said there's still some question about whether Trump was hit with bullet or shrapnel, as you just heard. I think with respect to former President Trump, there's some question about whether or not it's a bullet or shrapnel. Republicans, including the former president, seized on the statement to raise question about Wray's leadership of the agency. No, unfortunately, as we just read in the Truth Social report, it was a bullet that hit my ear and hit it hard. No glass, no shrapnel. No wonder the once storied FBI has lost the confidence of America. That is true. Americans don't know what the FBI is doing. Indeed, as we come to this conversation, I find it extremely unhelpful that Christopher Wray decided that it could have been shrapnel, this and that. That was an unfortunate riff in his answer about, what he's trying to do. What he was trying to say, in my opinion, was he was trying to keep the questions open while the investigation is underway. And yeah, the reconstruction teams are working to try to figure out all the angles, the actual ballistics, et cetera, et cetera. Now, that being said, it was still an unfortunate statement. And again, the leftist media is seizing on it. Well, it might not have been a bullet. Could have been shrapnel. Are you kidding me? Are you absolutely kidding me? It was a bullet. It was. And there was no source of shrapnel, as far as we know, that would have caused that injury. No, it was a bullet. It was a bullet. And it was luck. It was luck that President Trump moved his head in a particular moment at that particular second. It would have taken off the right corner of his skull right here. And it would have been ugly. Had it been able to actually penetrate the skull, it would have been over. Because this is the part of cognizant thought in your head, in the back of your head. You have a lot of protection in the front, big bones, et cetera, but back here, not so much. And that would have been a fatal shot. There's no doubt about it, especially considering the ballistics of a 5.56 round, if indeed that's what was being fired. There is a lot of frustration on all of this, and the FBI has not exactly covered itself with glory in the last, decade or so. A lot of people have been wondering exactly what's happening with the FBI, including former FBI agents that I speak with, that I talk to on a regular basis. What happened to my FBI is the quote that rings in my ear from a former FBI agent. I said, well, sir, you left. That's what happened to the FBI. The people that actually care, fidelity, bravery, integrity, they decided to play politics. Politics poisons everything, including one of the most storied federal law enforcement agencies in the entire history of the human endeavor. We've all seen the video. We've seen the analysis. We've heard it from multiple sources, different angles. A bullet went through his ear. I'm not sure it matters much. This was House Speaker Mike Johnson expressing skepticism of the FBI director's testimony. He told NBC on yesterday, that Wray was not forthcoming with some of the information that we would have expected. Well, it was good testimony. Look, FBI Director Wray just saw the Secret Service director summarily bounced from her job for being evasive in front of the House Oversight Committee, but many of the same people are involved in both committees, the Judiciary and the Oversight. And he was not going to be there without forthcoming answers. He was, however, careful, deservedly and rightly so, because this is an unfolding story. All right, that wasn't evasion. We saw plain evasion from Kimberly Cheadle. That is not what we saw from Christopher Wray. He's just being careful. But that being said, it was an unfortunate statement. It didn't even have to be brought up. It doesn't have to be brought up. You say, for example, somebody says, Director Wray, was that a bullet or shrapnel? We can say that we're not exactly sure, but all indications are that it was a bullet that passed through President Trump's ear. That's the same statement. It's just better. And, Christopher Wray is a guy who is not a spin artist. I've got almost a half century of communications in a public fashion in my experience set. And I know how to say those things. And at a strange level, it does speak well of Christopher Wray that he's more interested in telling the right story as opposed to telling a story. But that was an unfortunate thing, and it has indeed brought up a lot of gnashing of teeth on the part of those people who believe it was a bullet that hit Donald Trump, and those people who are trying to dissuade Americans that it wasn't a bullet. No, what happened was the bullet impacted a bumblebee, and the bumblebee stinger, the shrapnel, took off that part of his ear. That's what it was. It's the bumblebee reality. No, it's not. It's a bullet. Stop it. Bullets were being fired, 8 shots. 9 when you count the 1 shot that was fired by the Secret Service sniper, probably about at least a minute too late. That being said, here we go. CNN continues to report that there are a lot of frustration and concern about the leadership within these agencies. Yeah, well, one of them's gone. And Christopher Wray, realizing that, decided that he was going to be fulsome in his answers, and he was. During the Wednesday wide-ranging House Judiciary hearing, Wray shared new details with lawmakers about the would-be assassin, including he searched details of the John F. Kennedy shooting. From his laptop, flew a drone in the area near the rally just 2 hours before the former president took the stage. Despite later criticism from Republicans about the FBI's pending conclusions about the nature of the projectile, Wray was commended by representatives on both sides of the aisle for offering new insights into details about the investigation into the gunman. It was really a very good round of testimony. He did a very good job. Those bipartisan expressions of appreciation stood in stark contrast to earlier testimony by then Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle, who resigned Tuesday of this week after Democrats and Republicans accused her of stonewalling them and demanding her ouster. And remember, I talked about this yesterday. What she was doing was she essentially was not going to provide any information about that assassination attempt from the Secret Service perspective, preferring to allow the investigations to do that communication for her. It cost her her job. When asked Wednesday about how close the assassin's bullet came to killing the former president, Wray said, "My understanding is that it either is some kind of shrapnel, is what grazed his ear." He then agreed it came very close to killing the former president. The director again noted that the shooter fired 8 times and said he believes the investigators know which shot nearly killed Trump. So on one hand, I mean, this was a situation that I brought up On one hand, he says, well, we're not exactly sure whether it's a bullet or whether it's shrapnel. But then at the end of his answer, he did talk about which bullet hit Trump. So once again, we are looking at this, and all we can do at this point is ask that everybody pay attention to what's going on. As my commanding general of the Texas State Guard, and by the way, I don't speak for the Texas State Guard or the Texas Military Department, my commanding general says the first report is always wrong. And that is something that we have seen. And we'll see what the reports that are coming will say. Will they be true? Your guess is as good as mine.
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Telephone number 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. From the chat room, Brad says, bullets don't explode in air, no shrapnel. Well, I'm not going to get into the weeds on that. There are explosive bullets, but they don't usually explode unless they hit something. They're particularly nasty rounds, and I'm not going to discuss them. Let's see. I knew it, but I didn't say it first, says Brad. It was a Hornet that got spooked and went straight for Trump's ear. Obviously, the Hornet thought that the bullets were being fired by Donald Trump the other direction, from a grassy knoll, for example, and the Hornet misidentified. Well, actually, it wasn't a Hornet. It was a bumblebee, and thus gave rise to the magic bumblebee theory. Where's our inspector when you need him? So the president of the United States quoted Elon Musk, or quoted the Wall Street Journal in a report that said Elon Musk was going to give the president $45 million for turnout the vote efforts for the Republican Party. That was immediately that was changed by Elon Musk himself. And then the hue and cry was, my God, he lied again. Well, he was on Fox and Friends the other day, and what he ended up doing was talking exactly about that Musk donation. Let's take a look.
Wall Street Journal had a story about how it sounded like Elon Musk was going to be donating $45 million a month to a super PAC to support you and get people to early vote and stuff like that. What is going on with you and Elon Musk?
Well, I have a good relationship with him. I think he's a nice guy. I disagree with the electric cars for everybody. I think people should have, and I'm very much against that. It's ridiculous, actually. You want a gasoline-propelled car, or you want maybe a hybrid. You want to have a choice, and that includes electric. But no, Elon and I have a very good relationship. As you know, he endorsed me very strongly. Somebody told me he was going to give me $45 million a month. I said, that sounds like a lot. And even for Elon, that's a lot. But he was going to give me 45 million. There was a reporter that wrote it.
Right.
He never told me he was giving me 45, but he did say, I strongly endorse you, despite the fact that I'm against the electric car mandate. I'm all for electric cars if people want them.
He didn't pay you off.
Totally against
he just joined your team.
But Mr. President, real quickly, is there a plan, though?
Yeah, okay. So the president of the United States talking about that, and yeah, the Wall Street Journal, pretty good source, but may have messed that one up just a little bit. Don't know where that, don't know how that happened. Wall Street Journal's usually pretty good. Yeah, the magic bumblebee theory. Yeah, people are riffing on that. Maybe there were two bumblebees. Maybe they were fired from different locations. We don't know. The magic bumblebee theory. Yeah, it wasn't shrapnel. It was a bullet. And that will be made clear at some point in the future. But I want to talk a little bit about this fragmentary, point counterpoint, people throwing the word lies and so on and so forth back and forth, etc. Okay, so political debate is the science, as we've talked about, is leaving certain things out that are counter to your narrative. The idea of staying on message sometimes creates a situation where there are obvious holes. Think about trying to answer a question if you're a political candidate and covering all sides of that particular question. What ends up happening is that your point in the question, the point that you want to make with your answer, gets lost in all the minutia, right? So, Donald Trump, were you hit by a bullet or shrapnel? I was hit by a bullet, but there are people who say that there might have been some fragments. Now, I don't know where those fragments would come from. The teleprompter was intact and so on and so forth, but there are people that say those kinds of things. So what do you remember out of that? And more importantly, what would the mainstream media print? They would print, not even Donald Trump knows whether or not it was a bullet, even though he said at the outset of his answer, yeah, I got hit by a bullet. See how that works? And this idea that these fragmentary, pardon the pun, these fragmentary ideas that are daily, there are 2 and 3 and 4 of them every single day where somebody says, no, it was a bumblebee. I was listening to the Wells Report, a well-respected news broadcast. And he said that it was the magic bumblebee theory. And you go, okay, right. And so what we have to do as voters is we have to take all these things at face value with tremendous grains of salt. All right. What we have to do is we have to look at all this and say, okay, what's noise and what's real? What's noise and what's real? All right. Noise is $126 million raised by Kamala Harris in 3.5 seconds. All right. Well, that's noise. The reality is she raised a lot of money, and it all showed up immediately after everybody abandoned Joe Biden and coalesced around Kamala Harris and started talking about how she was the greatest candidate in the history of the universe. No. And that will be made plain. And so the fragments versus the facts. Make sure that as you consume what you see in front of you by the mainstream media, make sure that you're skeptical. That should be your default setting. Be a bit skeptical about what you hear. I'm going to report the news because it's the news, but I'm skeptical about what I even report And that's why we have this particular camera where I make commentary. Once again, I'm not stumping for either candidate. What I'm trying to do is give you information that you can use based on a perspective of fairness and honesty. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm taking this stuff hook, line, and sinker. No, if you want that, you got to go to MSNBC. You got to go to CNN, and sometimes you got to go to Fox News. This is hour one of the Wells Report in the books. Hour number 2 is next. Why don't you stick around for it?
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today with one simple phone call and learn how to qualify for up to $10,000 in free silver. Call Genesis Gold Group, empowering faith-driven stewardship.
Call 877-655-6870. That's 877-655-6870. 877-655-6870.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare or private insurance, you can see if you qualify for a CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you use insulin daily, you might be eligible to get your own continuous glucose monitor. So call the US Med Diabetic Health Hotline to see if you qualify for a CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
North to south, coast to coast, around the world. This is the Wells Report. What do you get here? You get honest and fair news reporting. That's what we do. We report the news honestly and fairly. We analyze the news for fact and bias. We point out both. We de-propagandize the mainstream media here. That is our mission. We do make commentary. Commentary is not news. And we clearly differentiate between news and commentary. That's why I use this camera for commentary and this camera for news. Because we want you to have a visual cue of when I'm talking about what I think. Now, is that terribly important and things that you should, the stuff I say, is that stuff you should hang on to as if it was gospel? No, it's just my opinion. You got an opinion, I've got one. Let's compare them. Let's debate. News analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. Benjamin Netanyahu's in town. He has covered himself with political glory with an amazing speech before a joint session of Congress. It was historic. It was truly a great speech. If you have not seen the entire speech, by all means, go see it. It is a master class on political oratory. There were also other people that were trying to be Hamas terrorists, and we'll get to some of that in just a couple of moments. But Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is slated to meet former President Trump today at Mar-a-Lago, and they're trying to repair a fractured relationship. This, according to Fox News. After President Biden defeated Trump in the 2020 presidential election, Netanyahu congratulated President-elect Biden, prompting Trump to call out the Israeli leader, was quoted as saying, "I haven't spoken to him since." This, according to comments released from an interview with Israeli journalist Barak Ravid. And then the president, in one of these moments that he just has to stop, then replied, F him. Stop it. Come on. I mean, really? Presidents don't talk like that. Sir, don't talk like that. Come on. Let's see. What's his name? Billy Graham's son. He sent him a note saying, hey, leave the F-bombs out. And the president needs to remember that. In his tweet, Netanyahu said, congratulations, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Joe, we've had a long and warm personal friendship for 40 years. I know you as a great friend of Israel. This was a message that Netanyahu wrote on Twitter and was a part of his speech when he was talking to a joint session of Congress. I look forward to working with both of you to further strengthen the special alliance between the U.S. and Israel. Well, now Netanyahu is working to repair this reported damage with his relationship with Trump. During the Thursday speech to Congress yesterday, the prime minister paid tribute to Trump's accomplishments in the Middle East. I want to thank President Trump for his leadership in brokering the historic Abraham Accords. Like Americans, Israelis were relieved that President Trump emerged safe and sound from that dastardly attack on him, a dastardly attack on American democracy. There's no room for political violence in democracies. Trump and his Mideast team brokered the Abraham Accords, a series of diplomatic normalization agreements between Israel and Sunni Arab countries of the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Sudan, and Morocco. Michael Makovsky, the president and CEO of the Jewish Institute for the National Security of America, told Fox News Digital, it's very important for both men and both the U.S. and Israel that Netanyahu and Trump have a very positive meeting today. I'm sure that will be the case. They had a close relationship when Trump was president, but then Trump expressed dissatisfaction with Netanyahu's statements a couple of times. Still, Trump knows the Republican base is very pro-Israel, with the latest example of being an all-Republican-led standing ovation, a series of them, yesterday during the Netanyahu speech to Congress. Trump can also pick some independent or Democrat voters upset with Biden's shift on Israel this year and the concern over Vice President Kamala Harris's view toward Israel, said Makovsky. Quote, anyway, Trump is fundamentally pro-Israel. Netanyahu keenly understands that strong U.S. backing, both in public and private, is pivotal to Israel addressing its many post-10/7 threats in Gaza, Lebanon, Iran, Yemen, etc. The chances of normalizations with relations with Saudi Arabia, and if Trump is elected, they need to have close personal ties, which is critical for Trump. In any case, it's critical for U.S. national security interests for the U.S. to have close ties with Israel. Good statement. The new chapter in the Trump-Netanyahu relationship looks to be already unfolding, Trump welcoming the Israeli leader's recognition of his Mideast diplomatic breakthroughs. The former president did warn the Israeli leader that he needs to put the prosecution of the war against the U.S. designated terrorist movement Hamas on the fast track. Quote, I want him to finish this up, get it done quickly. You've got to get it done quickly. They're getting decimated with this publicity. And, you know, Israel is not very good at public relations, unquote. Trump also said that Hamas's mass slaughter of nearly 1,200 people, including more than 30 Americans, on October 7th in southern Israel would not have happened if he had been reelected in 2020. Quote, October 7th would have never happened if I was president. There was no chance. Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah. It just wouldn't have happened. Zero chance, unquote. Not sure. Not sure. The Palestinians, through Hamas, really had a problem with the Abraham Accords. They were watching their money train from these Arab countries that were and are decidedly against Israel, changing their minds and saying, hey, wait a minute, this has gone on long enough. Let's come to some sort of agreement. And that led to historic changes in the Mideast political landscape. Good. That was very good. And yeah, Trump probably deserved the Nobel Peace Prize. Of course, that's not going to happen because the Nobel Committee has also decided that politics is more important than achievement. The turn from meritocracy to politics. It's very disappointing to see. Trump said that the 9-month war in Gaza to root out Hamas terrorists has lasted too long. I'd make sure that it gets over with fast. You have to end this fast. It can't go on like this. It's too long. It's too much. You've got to get your hostages back. And the president made it abundantly clear at a campaign rally that those hostages, not just the ones held by Hamas, but hostages around the world, notably Russia, those hostages need to be released before he becomes president. There was steel in those words. I liked it. I liked it because you know me, you know, President Biden sent 2 aircraft carrier groups to the Eastern Mediterranean, which is where Israel is located. That also came with a couple of divisions of United States Marines. He should have said, you've got 48 hours to release American hostages that you have in your possession, or the Marines will come and get them. And oh, by the way, if you fire on those Marines, they'll kill you. That's going to be their orders. But Biden didn't do that. And so we have another Democrat president writhing under the reality of Americans being held hostage by terrorists. And it just goes on and goes on and goes on. How many of those Americans are still alive? What will the retribution against Hamas be if indeed those Americans are no longer with us? It should be swift. It should be swift. It should be damaging, very much like the Israeli attack on Hamas. This is what it takes. Terrorists and the people around them that they use as human shields, by their own choice, apparently, need to realize that if you do something like that to Israel, they are going to lay waste to what's left of whatever parcel of land you happen to be living on. And that is the message that's going out. And it should be. That should be the message. Not everybody agrees with that. There are a lot of people that are making just plain asses out of themselves here in the United States, trying to import this Palestinian-Israeli civil war, if you want to call it that, and it's ugly as hell. These people that are wandering around in kafirs and bravely telling everybody that Hamas is coming, they even spray painted it on a monument. Really? Are you serious? Do you honestly feel that way? Fine. Here's what you do. You have indeed defaced U.S. government property. Belongs to all of us, and you defaced it. You decided to cut down an American flag and burn it. That was American property. Fine. What we're going to do is we're going to charge you with federal misdemeanors, and you will be immediately required to do, let's make it an even number, 320 hours of community service in the Gaza Strip. You want to be Hamas terrorists? By all means, go be Hamas terrorists. Good luck. And there are other people that are saying things like that. And this brings up an interesting point. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's Wednesday address to Congress was delivered as a backdrop of chaos and anger rang out from pro-Hamas demonstrators across Washington, D.C., this being reported by Fox News. Agitators burned flags, shouted Allahu Akbar that night, and it ended with an important moment, the hoisting of an American flag that had earlier been torn down. They did that this morning. Representative Brandon Williams of New York had the idea to go out there and put the American flag back in its rightful place, said House Speaker Mike Johnson, explaining on America's Newsroom yesterday. They're trying to intimidate Jewish people and all those who support Israel. We will not stand for it. So it was a proud moment for us. As a matter of fact, we have that interview. Let's spend a little bit of time taking a look at it here on the Wells Report as Mike Johnson says some things that we have to discuss, and we'll get to those in just a couple of moments. Check this out.
We cannot allow the pro-terrorist mobs to win. They're trying to intimidate Jewish people and all those who support Israel, and we will not stand for it. So it was a proud moment for us.
You know, the left wants the American people to believe that Donald Trump is an existential threat to democracy. And in fact, you heard a veiled comment about that from the president of the United States in the primetime address last night. But also yesterday, those protesters made it very clear that Hamas is coming. Should we take that seriously?
Yeah, they painted that message on the monument in front of Union Station, just about a block and a half from the Capitol. We should not stand for this at all. Look, we respect free speech, of course, but they are desecrating monuments, destroying public property, and they need to be arrested and sent to jail. If they're going to act like that and support a bloodthirsty terrorist regime, they are, in fact, what Prime Minister Netanyahu said in his speech yesterday, useful idiots for the cause of Iran. Iran is our enemy. They're working through their proxies and sometimes directly to attack our most important ally in the Middle East. And the bond we have with Israel is so important for so many reasons. We cannot stand for this, and we cannot allow useful idiots in America to play along with it.
Yeah, and Mike Johnson is saying that they should be jailed. Yes, they should be jailed, but not for free speech violations. They should be jailed for the damage they've done to American property. Now, there are a couple of points here that I want to make. This is opinion. Okay, that's why we're here. First, the idea that these wannabe Hamas terrorists are making asses out of themselves in the public space is plainly stupid. And the other thing that we need to keep in mind is what is the difference between protected free speech and free speech or speech that pursues a terrorist agenda? Is there a difference? Is there a difference? We're going to be talking more about that as we continue here today. What are your thoughts? 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. Mike Johnson says these people should be jailed. Does that make them political prisoners? What are your thoughts? Again, give us a call. Want to thank you very much for joining us here on the Wells Report. Make sure you tell your friends about us. Share this broadcast with them. Ask them to subscribe. Subscribe yourself. Hit the notification button and give us those thumbs up. Those thumbs ups are important to us, and you know that's true. We'll be back with more in a moment.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
This is the Wells Report. John David Wells thanking you for being here today. The Bill of Rights is a wonderful statement of just exactly what freedoms we have here in these United States. It is a great document, but it has holes in it. It does. And those holes, while not exploited by Americans who, by and large, buy into the Bill of Rights as an essential bulwark of American life, there are people that don't like us much that can see these holes. One of them, the First Amendment, talking about free speech. There are people in this nation who are pursuing Hamas ideology. The people of Gaza are paying the price for their actual sustainment and pursuit of those ideologies that are based on killing Jews and committing acts of terror so that Jews think that they're about to be killed by acts of terror. Okay, so that kind of thing leads to people, college kids, professional agitators, showing up, like, for example, when Benjamin Netanyahu comes to town and making asses out of themselves. They don't know what life is like under Hamas. They've never lived there. They're just trying to be fashionable. I'm a Palestinian supporter, even though the weight of history and the reality of the situation gives bankruptcy in no uncertain terms to those foolish assertions. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But is that not free speech? The answer is yes. It is free speech. It is repugnant. It is intellectually bankrupt. But let's talk about another terror group that pursued that very same thing. The Ku Klux Klan. That was a terrorist organization based on racism. Based on racism. A lot of people say, oh, those Southern KKK guys, they're such bigots and so on and so forth. Well, you got to remember that the biggest chapter of the KKK through all of those years was in Illinois. That's north of the Mason-Dixon line, but, once again, propaganda reigns. So the KKK was a terror organization doing exactly what Hamas is trying to put out against Israel and the Jews. They were just doing it against American black people because they were driven by racism, and it was horrible, and it was terrible, it was primitive, it was a crime against humanity. But the Supreme Court of the United States said that that speech, repugnant though it is protected. So are these wannabe fake Hamas terrorists within our midst, are they actually practicing free speech in America? Where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line? Well, Hamas represents the Holocaust and the genocide of the Jews. Does the KKK represent not just homicide, but indeed some level of genocide against American blacks? Their free speech is protected. Is this free speech protected? And so these exploitative or points to exploit in the American system, they give rise to this is a fake movement. It's not going anywhere because it's intellectually bankrupt. And pretty soon people are going to look at those people and say, you know what? I don't want to hire you. I don't want you in my neighborhoods. And the American people will clean up that mess. I'm sure of it. But we do have to keep our perspective. We do. We do not want the government, especially the political part of government, besmirching free speech rights, even though that speech leads to repugnant and stupid things being done in public. Yeah, by all means, throw these people in jail for their graffiti and their destruction of American monuments. By all means, throw them in jail. Do that community service in Gaza. Do that with them. That'll fix it.
Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
Get your home secured for less than $1 a day, and every caller today immediately qualifies for free installation. Call now.
Call 877-275-0973. 877-275-0973. That's 877-275-0973.
News, analysis, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. Greetings. John David Wells at your service. Thank you very much for joining us today. As we come to this broadcast, what we want to talk about is how this entire campaign has indeed unfolded in kind of a weird way. And that's because it's a weird campaign. We don't see national parties very often spending a lot of time putting themselves in a situation where they have to choose a candidate with about 100 days left in the campaign season. And so there are fragments that are flying around and so on and so forth. We got another one here, but it's from Cedric Richmond. Cedric Richmond, in case you don't know, was the co-chair of the Biden campaign. Now, he has a lot of reasons to be upset, mainly because the president made an abrupt about face, and he was one of the last people to know. And he was upset about that. But then, as the dutiful Democrat that he is now coalescing his support around Kamala Harris. And he was on CNN the other day and pointed out a couple of different things regarding his viewpoints on campaign donations and who those donations are coming from. Take a look at this.
Made simple.
Okay, there we
The
go.
quotes that stuck out to me was you telling MJ, now those donors need to step the F up. We've seen the fundraising numbers, and they're huge, big numbers, and largely from grassroots donations. So what's your message to those big donors today?
Look, I am so excited about the grassroots fundraising. Raised over $100 million in 24 hours, 1.1 million unique donors, and the 58,000 volunteers that have signed up since then. So it shows the energy in the party. Was I pissed off at big donors? Absolutely. Because what I know is that in this process, the voters drive the machine. And so now we see grassroots donors coalescing around her. And that's not to the exclusion of big donors, but the excitement is with the unique regular donor.
All right, so that was what Cedric Richmond had to say. And and yeah, he's kind of upset about that. But I don't think that funding is going to be the issue. I don't think the funding is going to be the issue in this campaign, although it's one of them. The issue in this campaign is going to be all of the statements made by Vice President Kamala Harris before she became the Democrat nominee of their party, the de facto nominee of their party. So yeah, you can't win without money, says Cedric. It's absolutely true. And it is an important part of any political campaign. And you can debate whether or not there's too much money in it or what have you. I mean, think about it. The billions of dollars spent on electing a president that would take over a job making $400,000. That does seem a little bit odd. But that being said, well, you know, we're in a situation where in a free enterprise capitalist society, capitalism, capitalist donations to political candidates, that's part of the mix. I don't think that it matters where that money is coming from, although it is significant that there are supposedly, we don't know, there are supposedly a whole bunch of grassroots brand new donators to the Kamala Harris campaign. But once again, this has been called a sugar high by various people when Kamala Harris is there, and my goodness gracious, she's the greatest human being on the planet, and everybody's fine, and everybody coalesces, and everybody gangs up and says, yeah, and anybody who disagrees with us is a bigot. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's fine. But one of the problems with the Democrat push for racism against their political opponents is they've been playing that card way too long. Any weapon gets blunt with overuse. And okay, so if indeed all of us are bigots according to these people, then why and you've been telling us that for years, why do we care any longer? You're going to call us bigots either way. The American people elected Barack Obama, an African American, to be the president of the United States twice. But somehow we're still bigots? Really? Well, that's because bigotry is an important political tool. Why? because the left political process has bankrupted itself in a classic American way by caring more about party than the country. Even President Biden, when he said, you know what, I'm backing out of this reelection campaign. It's the best for my party and the country. That was instructive if you're paying attention. And so once again, as we look at all of this and we see these people unfolding, etc., remember what James Carville said earlier on this broadcast. The ice pick cometh. And what I added to that is the faceplant cometh. Because there are too many things in the past that Kamala Harris has said that will haunt her in that campaign. I said yesterday that the campaign ads are going to be eye-watering. They're going to be pointed and they're going to hurt. Donald Trump, on the other hand, has been the most investigated political figure in the history of the human endeavor. Everything is out there on the table. Anything else that they bring up is old news. That is an advantage in the public relations game. That is a political campaign. And so as we go through all this, all we can do is talk about the ruminations of the various, I don't know, what is it? The political fragment du jour or the fragments du jour, and say, okay, well, we'll see this as it unfolds. But like I said earlier, everything you see in the mainstream media needs to be taken with a grain of salt and healthy skepticism. And just listen for facts. That's what we do on this broadcast. We separate fact from fancy. And you'd be amazed. I am utterly astonished at the actual length of these particular articles in the mainstream media, how short they are and how unsubstantial they are when you remove all the things in them that are not facts. Journalism is about who, what, when, where, why, and how. And all these ornaments of opinion and conventional thinking and all this stuff is why the mainstream media is a laughing stock. I dare say it's one of the reasons why you're here. Because somebody's got to tell the truth. I'll do it. It's my job. I like it. It's fun. And so that's what I suggest that you do. Double source everything that you hear. Make sure that you follow up stuff if you're interested. Or you can show up here. And by the way, if I get something wrong in your opinion, 817-379-2172. I'm pointing at the Christopher Crump box, which is how I answer my phones. Call me and tell me what you think. I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to argue with you. I'll ask you pointed questions, but I hope you ask me pointed questions. That's debate. Let's get to it. So, odds makers. I lived in Las Vegas for 12 years. The industry of odds making is both fascinating and in a lot of cases, really instructive. It really is. And odds makers have been lording over various facts, actuarial tables, experience, so on and so on, and have made some decisions, at least at this point in the campaign, as to who they believe they're going to put their money on. This from Fox News. Actually, more appropriately, Fox Business News. President Biden's decision over the weekend to drop out of the presidential race, Vice President Harris gaining the support of the Democrat Party, hasn't caused a dramatic shift in betting markets' views of the matchup with Republican nominee, former President Donald Trump. Biden's decision to withdraw came after intense pressure from Democrat politicians who were concerned about his waning support. Biden's odds of winning a second term plunged from about 45% on Predictit, 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 on the eve of the debate to 15% Saturday, the day prior to his decision to withdraw. Bettors on Polymarket cut his odds from 34% to 7% in the same time frame. As of Wednesday of this week, traders on Polymarket gave Trump a 63% chance of winning, while Vice President Harris had 32%, with Trump's odds mostly unchanged since Sunday's development. On PredictIt, Trump's odds have dipped slightly from 60% on Sunday to 57% on Wednesday, within the margin of error. Harris's odds rose from 40 to 45% in that same time frame. And of course, that's the bounce from everybody saying, my goodness gracious, Kamala Harris is the greatest ever. And yeah, bettors have flocked to the prediction market sites in the weeks since Biden's debate performance amid the volatility of the 2024 presidential race. There's been close to record trading on the PredictIt site over the last few days, and that has continued with Biden's announcement on Sunday, quite literally. I mean, you can bet on who the president of the United States is going to be. There's a lot of money in this. There's a lot of money riding on it. And people are betting. And I'm going, well, I guess that's one way to vote. It is. And not being somebody who got caught up in all of the moral horror of gambling. While I was living in Las Vegas, I didn't gamble. I didn't gamble there, except with the story I tell on a regular basis. Megabucks is a progressive slot machine. In other words, with every poll that is unsuccessful, money gets added to a bigger pot, and then eventually you can win that bigger pot. And in order to qualify for winning the bigger pot, you have to put $3 in all these Megabucks machines. Well, Susan and I gambled $21 every time the progressive pot got over $17 million. We'd go watch a show, and then we'd go back, and if the Megabucks machines were not being used, we didn't have to stand in line because they're very popular, or at least they were years ago. Then what we do is we go toss $21 in there and see what we got. We got $56. So we're $56 on Las Vegas after 12 years. But the idea that gambling is huge business, well, that's obvious. And you can bet on anything. And you can indeed bet on who the president of the United States is going to be. There has been close to record trading on PredictIt over the last few days, and that has continued with Biden's announcement on Sunday. This is PredictIt Public Relations Director Lindsay Singer telling Fox Business. Singer noted that the addition of a market for the new Democrat vice president nominee on the PredictIt platform has also proven very popular with traders since Biden's withdrawal, Harris becoming the party's presumptive nominee. Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona leads the vice presidential market as of Wednesday with a 35% chance in the eyes of bettors. That'd be a good choice. That amounts to a modest lead over second-place contender, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, who has a 31% chance. Words on that. A couple of different things. Mark Kelly is a moderate. He is a moderate Democrat, arguably a classic Democrat, who won the Senate race in a mostly red state. That's a political achievement. And that is kind of at odds with Kamala Harris, who is a solid liberal progressive from California. So you're in a position where you're going, okay, maybe he might be the vice presidential candidate. Josh Shapiro, on the other hand, well, that guy's a genuine political star. One of the problems with a vice presidential candidate is you don't want to pick somebody that's going to blow you off the stage whenever you stand up there. Now, Kamala Harris has abilities, but Josh Shapiro, man, that guy's a serious player. I doubt very sincerely if he would accept. We won't find out. I mean, it'll be a conversation in the back room. But Josh Shapiro is possible. It may happen. But that does present kind of a dichotomy. So does Mark Kelly, because Mark Kelly's a moderate. Kamala Harris isn't. How will those people square their beliefs? Either Kamala Harris is going to have to move to the center, which is what she's been doing lately, especially when it comes to Palestinians in Israel, realizing that she is in big trouble on that issue. And these other guys, these more moderate Democrats, Josh Shapiro and Mark Kelly, are going to have to move toward the progressive thing to sort of find a middle ground. The question is, will you believe Kamala Harris's new move to the center? And will Mark Kelly and Josh Shapiro say, I really don't want to nestle up to that progressive movement that has really made fools of itself over the years? So who am I picking? My bet, my money, Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg. That would be the ultimate progressive ticket. Will it win? I don't believe so. I don't believe so because, again, progressives are very, very loud. But their support is a mile wide, but about an inch deep. That's the way I see it. What do you see? 817-379-2172. 817-379-2172. The Wells Report in progress for this Friday. Fishing Shirt Friday, no less. Back with more in a moment.
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
Call 877-512-3895. That's 877-512-3895. 877-512-3895.
Consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, but you've got to call now. Call the number on your screen today. It's a free call.
The Wells Report in progress for Friday, 26th day of July, year of our Lord 2024. Da, 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 da. The Olympic Games. The opening ceremony has already happened. It was the first Olympic ceremony that was held outside the Olympic Stadium. Where was it held? It was held on the Seine River that runs through Paris. And from what I understand is cool. I haven't seen anything of it. You will be able to see that tonight. In fact, the only thing you'll be able to see on NBC's coverage on their various platforms will be the opening ceremony. Approximately 10,500 athletes from 206 National Olympic Committee committees will take part in the festivities or have taken part in the festivities. More than 90 boats carried the athletes on the Seine as spectators lined up to watch. According to the Olympics website, larger NOCs will have their own boat, while smaller ones will share a vessel. By the way, I've been to Paris. Paris is cool. And I've been right there on the Seine where they were sailing. As a matter of fact, I have sailed on the Seine in one of those really cool little boats that shows you a bunch of things that these people saw today. And let me tell you, that was a really cool idea. It was really cool. And they have all these boats that people live on that are moored more or less permanently on the Seine River, although they have to be functional so they can move if the authorities say, hey, you must move your boat. So as we watch all this, and you'll see it tonight on NBC, you need to know that this is an important part of the human endeavor. The Olympic Games has always been a good thing. It's been a good thing where people set aside political differences, mostly. In 1972, that changed. When, guess who? Palestinian terrorists decided to murder a bunch of Olympic athletes from Israel. And they did it. But that is not what the Olympic Games are about. Set aside differences. Compete on athletic fields. Let the athletes work with each other. Notably, in the 1936 Berlin Games, a German athlete helped Jesse Owens in the decathlon, helping him with his technique in the long jump. He ended up getting the silver medal. Jesse Owens got the gold medal. Both men called each other brothers. In the midst of the heyday of the Third Reich, Jesse Owens was black. The Aryan race had put this other guy, and I can't remember his name, or I'd tell you, had put their athlete up there, and Jesse Owens just ran away from him the 100 meters. And indeed, used the advice from this German athlete to win the decathlon. That's what this is all about. Let the athletes get to know each other. Let them compete with each other. The medal counts have always driven me crazy. They always have. I mean, let's face it. You know, you got a country of here in the United States. You know, I mean, it's what, 31 million people live in the United States. On the other hand, these smaller countries don't have that talent pool to pull from. There are great athletes in these other countries. Some train here in the United States, but they don't have the talent pool to pull from. And so medal counts, I think, defeat the purpose of the Olympic Games. People should be celebrated for their achievements, not just in winning a medal. Good heavens. I mean, these people work a vast majority of their youth in trying to learn these arcane skills. And you can lose by just a particle of a second. And the people who try to become Olympic athletes that are betrayed by their bodies, me included, you just don't have the right body, John. You're not going to be a fast swimmer. Well, okay, I get it. It was hard because I put a lot of years into that, man. That was tough. But Jerry Seinfeld had a brilliant bit on this. He goes, imagine training your entire life and you're running the 100-meter dash and you lose by 2 1,000ths of a second. It was just, just missed it by that much. Oh, yeah, that's part of it too. But there will be an opening the actual opening ceremonies for the Olympic Games will be on NBC. They'll be on NBC, USA Network, Telemundo, CNBC, Golf Channel, all of the platforms that NBC uses. And let's see, the original viewing is going to be at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time on those platforms. There will be a prime time version, and it will be worth seeing because Paris is beautiful. One of the beautiful things about Paris is indeed the Eiffel Tower. When I went to Paris, I didn't realize the light show that the Eiffel Tower shares with that amazing city. every single night. And it's beautiful. They put lights all over it, and it's tasteful, and it's well done. And they've outdone themselves with the Eiffel Tower, the Olympic rings decorating that structure, built of steel to prove that steel could also be used to make beautiful things. And it's something that you should certainly put on your bucket list. Get to Paris and get to an Olympic Games when you get a chance to see all this amazing competition from countries putting down their weapons and picking up javelins, pole vault poles, and their track shoes, and trying to outdo each other. It's a beautiful thing. This has been the Wells Report. Thanks very much for joining us today. We have a lot of brand new people here. Thanks for being with us. Join us again on Monday for another edition of the Wells Report. And so there you have it. Thanks very much. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you join us on Monday. We do this show, in case you're new, we do this show Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the Central Time Zone of the United States. All right? You can send me an email if you'd like to, thewellsreport@frontier.com. The Wells Report, common spelling, thewellsreport@frontier.com. In the subject line, put in capital letters, it would help me out a lot. Tell me what platform you're watching this broadcast on, and I will answer all of those emails. I will. And so by all means, reach out and say hi, because I'd like to say hi back. Have yourself a great day. Be safe. Have a great weekend, too. Be safe. Make good decisions. And we'll see you again on